Hello, everyone. This is Isaque, CEO co-founder of Agryo. It's a pleasure to be present our company. Just waiting to see. Okay, here we go. So, as I said, I'm CEO and co-founder of Agryo, and I am here to share our incredible journey to solve one of the biggest challenges of our times. Maybe not everybody in the audience know, but we are in a shortage of finance and food supplies and fiber supplies all over the globe. I will use as an example the United States, one of the biggest markets in the production and finance for farmers around the globe. Same picture in Canada, where we can see in the last 5 years a reduction 30% of these 100 major banks in the space in their lending business for farmers. Remember, prices are going up in the supplies, the food demand is going up, and the finance is being reduced. It's a big, big problem for our society, especially when we consider a population of 10 billion people coming to the next 20 years for our next generation of society. To solve that problem, our perception, what's the challenge we need to address? The challenge is banks, insurance companies, credit unions, like Canada has a very strong ecosystem, have a very good understanding on the personal level. But the point is to understand the real world assets, the land, the yield, and everything related to that loan, where will be used the money to support the production. It's another conversation. Most of the financial institutions don't have ability to deal with real world assets, with data, and all the ability to understand and monitor that side of the transaction. That's the major goal, major target to solve this problem, to solve this challenge. So with that, what the Agryo is about? Agryo is an infrastructure solution which helps financial providers to understand, underwrite, monitor, and control their portfolio in the sense of understanding the real world challenges of their lending, insurance, trade finance, and so on. It's a very simple example in the lending business. If a bank is using Agryo infrastructure, they can submit the profile of a farmer. We will collect through our engine, with our proprietary technology. It's called CEO's engine. We will collect 520 different variables from satellite data, weather forecast, soil maps, and a combination of other aspects of the business from the last 21 years on any place on Earth running today, this service. And we will forecast the next 6 months for that particular place and deliver back in the hand of the financial provider the ability to understand their land and their insurance and all the other operations which they do with that particular farm. That means we help agri-lending institutions, banks, credit unions, people on the space. We help insurance companies to understand what's the risks, what's the chance they lost that particular contract. Trade financiers, which need to deliver finance for farmers to export their crops, like the banks which run all the transactions in wheat, for example. Canada is one of the exporters. And environmental services too, since we monitor assets in a perspective of time and space in a regular and real time for users. If we are running that particular case we talk about in the banking side, so let's say we are helping a lending facility to operate in a better way, they can use our service, our APIs inside of their app for the farmer side, or they can do the application on the behalf of the loan officer. We process everything and they get to the point to adjudicate or underwrite the loan. If they decide it's in the good standards, they can keep monitoring the post-funding, seeing everything what's happening there every day, and every 15 days assessing new reports about the place and all the aspects of the farm. So we have a capacity to deliver an entire operation picture in our system. We can help they to understand a particular part of their business, a particular state where they have operation, and they can start to understand in a very granular level all the things and help those farmers to produce and deliver products on the space. That is our major goal. To keep developing further, we are raising our seed round, looking for partners which understand SaaS, Fintech, data, and analytics. And more than happy to keep the discussion further. It's time to solve this massive shortage. Everyone is seeing the prices outside of the food, fibers, commodities, and others. And we are positioning to help that solve that problem on the market globally. Thank you so much, and open for the questions.
Thank you very much, Isaque. Did I just cut you off, Dave?
No, it's okay. You go first.
Thank you very much, Isaque. It's an interesting market, and my first question is around maybe just to clarify your typical customer size or the farmer size. Are we talking about more local farmers, or are we talking about like large farmers?
In terms of the product to help financial providers to deliver finance, we have one restriction at this point. It's over 1 hectare or 2.5 acres size of plot. That's our restriction. Not because we cannot handle smaller, but because the type of services we are providing kind of standard. We have a high quality and high resolution service, which goes under that level. But that's the standard service for this time. We are serving that. By the way, this addresses more or less 250 million families globally. Then you go to some regions in Asia which are smaller than that. So, but entire Americas, Africa, and Europe, it's mostly over that size.
All right, Isaque. Now that you've clarified this, if I could just ask a quick follow-up on whenever we see sort of these scores to underwrite, whether it's insurance or whether it's lending. How does the financial institution or the insurance or the lender, how do you establish credibility for your score?
Yeah, that's very important. So first, the approach we use we have different scores for each part of the decision. So from things which is the credit score, which should be the last number for the decision, but we have that breaking in different aspects. So what's the component of climate, what's the component of management, of quality of growth of crops and things like that. So that is at that level, who is managing the infrastructure can understand, okay, what is the heaviest content on that final credit score. Another point is to show how this is produced for the clients, so then they can understand it's a time and space spatial analysis which compiles different behaviors and so on. That's very important. And of course, always the good words of the users is another one which can help.
Thank you.
We started like 5 minutes late. No, we started 4 minutes late.
Isaque, another question there is, the one thing I didn't hear from you was what is unique or proprietary about the data set that you have relative to your competitors? And you didn't really talk about competitors, but there is competitors in the space that you're giving that data. So maybe I'll just ask the host to go on mute so we're not interrupted while we're chatting here if they can hear us. I don't know if I'm the only one getting that.
Yeah, but let's address that. So basically, we have some sets of prototype data in the imaging side, and some others in the user side.
He knows there's a lag watching it at home.
But it's another point important to clarify is
should be backstage. He'll be late. He'll be late.
We only know.
Hang on 1 second, Isaque. I'm sorry, we're wrecking your answer here. Can you guys hear us, the host? You are not on mute.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me just reiterate. So basically, we have data which are proprietary in terms of images and some other things, but most of what we aggregate in terms of value is not only the data, be proprietary or not, but how we deliver services ready to use, not only data per se. Another point is how you collect, prepare, and aggregate and deliver the results and the data associated, which sometimes the institution can look at or not, but they will look more in the results itself, the reports itself, and the indicators during the process, during the portfolio monitoring. So there is where we aggregate more value for the end user. In that sense, there are not so much competition on that side. Of course, in the ag tech app space, let's say, which is more for farmers, there are more companies, but it's a bit different play here.
And Isaque, last question. You didn't roll out of bed one morning to decide to do this. Can you tell us about your background? Were you an ag lender? Were you a farmer? Like, how did you decide that this was your passion project?
Yeah, that's a very interesting, important one. So my family still have a farm in the south of Brazil. I have been working on the space from very young up to professional career in 2003, working for banks since 2003. United Nations, UNDP, Allianz, and other on the finance/environmental services. In my entire career, I am a master on earth science, PhD in engineering, and agronomist. Still being a farmer, a bit retired from the field, but I have opportunity to live all sides. I had a chance to finance a tractor, and to finance, which would be at $12,000 today, we need to secure with my father, my brother, and I, with our documentation, plus a piece of land. It's because what's happening, the banks don't have a clear picture of what's going on the farm and everything else. So I have been doing this type of data help for financial providers for a quite long time, but most of the time they don't build. So in 2019, I decided, okay, with my co-founder, let's go and fight this market and solve this problem for 500 million families which are waiting outside. It's basically like that. That's our mission for the next coming years and decades.
Terrific, thank you.
I'm not sure if we have time for more questions, but I think we have to move on. So congratulations, Isaque. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your pitch. Good job.